Okay, so I went ahead and I had to trim all of them down so that they kind of matched up. I had to take quite a bit off one of them. So I trimmed them all down and then I just kind of filed them into shape. So one of the next steps is to go ahead use your buffer and then just kind of buff the nails. Like this, it doesn't take much. You just want to kind of smooth them up and be nice and cleaned up. I also kind of buffed the edges because I used kind of a rough nail file on them. So that's pretty much all you'll do. And after I'm done with this step, then what I'll do is I'll swipe my nail beds with the acetone. Oh, nope, I'm wrong. Actually, I need to push my cuticles back. So I'll go ahead and do that. You don't need to watch that part. That's fairly tedious. But what we do have is what's this part right here called the, come on, there we go. There's the invisible cuticle, and it's just kind of, you can't see it, and I actually don't have much right now because I haven't pushed my cuticles back right now, but I will do that and then I'll show you what I'm talking about with that invisible cuticle. And you have to push that back too, because if you get the wrap on that, it will lift here. So, alright. So there's a bunch of adhesive still on here. That'll come off here though in just a few minutes. So I'm just pushing the cuticle back here. Just, it looks kind of rough, but I'm actually being fairly gentle. And I'm just kind of scraping out just anything that, you know, kind of collected in here as far as that adhesive. So there. So you can't, I don't have too much of that invisible cuticle because I've been keeping them pushed back. So there's not really anything to see, unfortunately. So I can't really show you, but you can see just right there. That's just a tiny little bit of what I'm talking about. And so what I need to do is I just need to push that back a little bit. So, there. See? So there's no cuticle. It's all pushed back. And that way when I put my wrap on, I can put it very close and it won't touch and it'll seal nicely. So most of that cuticle oil has actually been absorbed now. So when I go and wipe off the nail beds, I'll be all set to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to buff them. Okay, so I'm ready to go ahead and just wipe the nail beds off. So I'm going to use the acetone because I don't have my alcohol wipes with me. I actually don't need to use the acetone. My nail beds aren't very oily, and this stuff is actually really quite drying, which is kind of what you need when you have oily nail beds. But this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to do. So here's the wrap that I'm going to use. It's called Happy Go Lucky. This was in the September style box. It also came with the exclusive. This is actually available in the catalog. So it also came with an exclusive that kind of coordinates with it, and you can style them in different ways to see what suits you. So I actually already know which ones of these fit, so I'll just show you that really quickly. So my pinky actually fits this littlest one, and what you want is you want a wrap that's actually a little bit smaller than what you're going to actually have for the nail bed. The second one right here, that actually fits my pointer finger, and then this one fits my ring finger, and this one fits my middle finger, and then this one fits my thumb. So I use these 5 right here, the first 5. They'll fit you probably differently. So, and I already forgot to mention that I actually cut the sheet in half just to make it a little easier to work with. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've trimmed it, And I mean, it doesn't look that different, but what I needed was, I needed it to be a little bit flatter, but still with a little bit of a curve. And I've got it just perfect now. I did both sides so that they would fit nicely. So, yeah, I think that looks good. I just checked the other ones, and they look pretty good, actually. They all look like they're going to fit nicely. Okay, so I have them all trimmed up. This one, I had to do quite a bit of trimming to get it to fit. This side's a little odd. And I actually didn't need to really do any on this side. And that's about it, I think. And I fixed up the thumb. So these are the ones that will be going on my nails. This side is for my left hand, and this side is for my right hand. This is what's left over. So I have enough to use for like accent nails, or in this case, I can do a pedicure. This one would be for my big toe, and then I can cut this one up into 8 little pieces for teeny tiny little toenails. And then this is a whole nother sheet full of another manicure and another pedicure, plus a few accent nails. Okay, so just be careful not to touch the wrap with your fingernails, or your fingers, I mean, because then you will get some oils on there. And I did this with my first application, and it didn't last very long. With my latest one, even though I didn't do a very good job applying it as far as shaping it and having some lifting going on, it lasted for over 10 days. So I'm going to trim it right here. My pinky is quite short, and if I trim this appropriately, then I'll have a little extra left right here that I can also use for my toenails. So then, on this, I'll hold it up to the heater, and hold it up right there so it started curling right there. So that's ready to go. Okay, so it's all ready to go. Okay, once it's on, it is on. Just heating that up a little bit more. Okay, so you can use your fingers like this to just kind of press it down. And then use your little rubber tool to really get a good seal up. And always go towards the nail tip. Except right here at the base. Go ahead and push that down really good. And we're going to have to make sure you get lots of pressure on here at the tips. If you don't get enough pressure on them, that causes lifting. So I'm just going to leave that one. I'm going to let it cool appropriately, then I'll trim it, and then I'll file it. So I'll go ahead and I'll do the rest of them. Okay, one of the things I didn't mention was that when you get them on, you can sit there and take this front part and pull on it just a little bit. That'll help pull any bubbles and wrinkles out. I actually don't usually get them because my nails are fairly flat and also fairly short now, but I thought I should share that. You can just kind of pull it in gently, like this. So, okay, so now I have all of them on, including my thumb, so I'll just trim them. I had to trim my pointer finger because I was using it, so I'm just going to do a rough trim really quick. I'm not that close to the nail. If I was being a little more careful, I would have trimmed these quite a bit shorter before I actually heated them up and put them on. There. Because you can actually use the scraps fairly easily for a pedicure. So, oops, I'm stuck to me all over. So, there. So what I'll do is I'll go in, and I can't really do this while videoing, because I have to really look closely. But I'll try on this one. I'll just trim it down as closely as I can with my cuticle scissors. the thumbnail. It's tricky to twist myself a little bit. So, anyways, you get them down, trim down just as much as you can, and they've all cooled down. So now what I could do, I'm actually going to trim them down a little bit finer first, but is take the nail file and just go like this. Now I have fairly thin nails, so they bend a little bit when I'm doing this. So I have kind of a hard time doing this. So what I ended, that's why I actually trim them as closely as I possibly can. So after you do that, what will happen is just that excess will just kind of ball right off. And that'll help keep it from lifting. What I'm actually going to do is, instead of the recommended 90-degree angle, I'm going to do a 45-degree angle, because you want just a little bit of the tip showing of the nail, just so that this is fully sealed down. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to trim these up a little bit closer. So then the final step is to reheat all of them over here on my mini heater, the Legacy mini heater. They have those awesome little purple ones out now. These are great for parties and stuff, and since I'm a consultant, that's what I have. But if you get the opportunity, I highly recommend those little mini heaters. They're great. So you just heat them up. They do get a little hot. You don't have to hold it that close. And then what you do is you just take something. You can use your finger or your little tool, and you just push it down one more time. And then something else that you can do, which I don't have right here with me, but you can get a plastic bag and wrap it around your finger, and then you just pull it tight and heat it up, hold it up to the heat source, and that'll apply nice even pressure over all the tips. So that's that. We're done. That's my new manicure. Happy-go-lucky. It looks good. So the last thing I want to mention is, well, one, look at all the little scraps I have left. These are going to be great to do pedicures with, actually. So that's what I like to save all my little leftover pieces. But the final thing I want to mention right here is, I want you to notice the cuticle space there. See how I don't have it right up next to the cuticle? There's a little bit of space all the way around the nail. That is the correct way to apply. You're going to want to go a little bit small rather than a little bit big, because if the nail wrap touches the skin, it won't adhere. Now, I've practiced this quite a while. I've done this quite a few times at this point now, so I'm pretty confident that these are going to stay on, even though I do have them really close. I was careful to just make sure that they aren't touching anything. So for your first application, go ahead and err on the side of getting them a little bit too small rather than too big. See, right over here, I had to actually trim this one down while it was on my fingernail, and because it was actually over the nail and on the skin a little bit. But I saved it, so we're good. So that's what it looks like, and then if you've pushed your cuticles back properly, what they'll do is they'll just kind of settle back down into place, and they'll grow out, and they'll look really good. So that's that. That is a manicure with Jamberry.